Good evening and welcome back for another week of Grand Forks Central Rocket League. Tonight, we've got two series, more than likely, as the GFC Rocket League boys take on the Divisional tournament that will seed for the state championship. And right now, as of the conclusion of the regular season, now that we've moved into bracket play, Grand Forks Central are undefeated, 6-0. And a couple of those big wins came against both Mandan rosters, Mandan JV 2 weeks ago and the Mandan varsity team last week. That was the big 3-0 victory for the GFC boys. They were very excited. There was a fantastic comms video posted by the GFC_esports Twitter account, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that back, reliving that moment with the comms overlaid on top, because it was a massive victory for these three guys who were trying to win a state championship in their final semester together. But you know the story at this point. I'm not going to rehash that. I think we have talked about that enough this semester. Now, we focus on the play in front of us. It's a rematch that we get first against Mandan JV, and then more than likely, another rematch against Mandan varsity in the championship here, with the winner getting the #1 seed at state. And the guys are already jumping straight into to competition here, so I will put the graphic that we've got up on screen between games to show the bracket, show exactly what is at stake, what we're playing through tonight. But we're already starting off with a bang. Amethyst Nuke has scored 6 seconds into this series. Jadetron dimes him up, and you can't concede the air to Amethyst Nuke. That's a no-go, and Mandan JV have clearly not learned from their mistakes 2 weeks ago, because they will give up the opener, and Amethyst Nuke is already looking clean with it. But it's some defense now for GFC. Do have to break away, and the chef will do exactly that. Gave Jatron a high five upon exiting the defensive half, and still managed to find a clear. But very hot start for this GFC team, who I've been told are playing at home again tonight. That's where they were last week when they beat Mandan's varsity roster. All three were playing from their at-home setups, and I heard from the parents in chat that they were quite loud, especially at the end of game 1 against Mandan varsity, when they scored that insane 0-second play to really set the tone for that series and show Mandan varsity that these guys are no longer the underdogs in the state of North Dakota. But back at home, we'll see if they can continue their winning ways, 6-0 throughout the regular season. And a couple of those big wins were against these Mandan rosters. Handled the JV guys fairly easily. It was a blowout 3-0 because we had plays like this consistently showing dominance in the air. And Amethyst Nuke doesn't even need Jatron to set him up this time around. Had the passing option of the chef, who I think would have scored had he been given a shot opportunity right there. But Amethyst Nuke elects to take the solo play, and that is fine by me if he's hitting shots like he is already in this series. But I'm going to take this moment of extra little pressure off kickoff, but nothing too established here. Set up my stat notebook. Forgot to do that before this series started. I wasn't quite sure when we were going to be starting this series, but Amethyst Nuke doesn't care. Anytime, he's ready to play. A hat trick in the first 90 seconds, and this one, absolutely a goal steal. No need to touch that, but I don't think the boys care. Probably having fun with that one, as Jadetron thought he was getting his first goal of the series, but Nuke will snatch that up and continue to look quite good on the pitch. But let me get my papers in order here. It was a 10-0 victory in game 1 against Mandan JV 2 weeks ago, for the record. Hopefully we can repeat that. The guys only allowed 1 shot in that one. Pretty dominant set there. And this will be a pretty good warm-up, I think, for what is likely to be a rematch against Mandan varsity in the championship of this bracket. They're on the lower side of the bracket at the moment, playing Devil's Lake, the 6th seed, finding a win against Harvey in round 1. And if you are wondering, the keen listeners in chat probably are, why we started around 5 p.m. Central instead of the 4 p.m. that I had proposed last week, we didn't know that we'd be getting a bye in bracket play until after that broadcast. So the GFC guys were all warming up while Mandan JV went to Game 5 against Fargo. 3-2 the final in that one. So Mandan JV, they had quite the warm-up coming into this series, and I think it's kind of showing in the sense that they're not already down by 7 or 8 goals as they were the last time that we played these guys, but still, it is a very one-sided Game 1 in favor of GFC, who have just sent Amethyst Nuke on a mission of scoring every possible goal that he can. They've let him off the leash tonight. Said go fetch scores. And unfortunately for Mandan JV, that game plan for GFC has completely worked out in their favor. And here we go. Look at that. The chef almost just scored a pre-jump play. Just off the mark. Went from the ceiling. J-Tron hit him. And man, I bet the chef wants that one back. Would have been a fantastic clip, but it does set up J-Tron for the goal. So again, you know, you don't get the highlight reel play, but if you get the goal at the end of the sequence, that is ultimately what matters in competition. These guys have had no shortage of highlight reel opportunities all throughout this season of play. So the editor that puts those together probably already has their hands full. No need for any more. Though, when we play Mandan's varsity team a bit later on, I wouldn't mind some more spectacular starts. Their 0-second goal would be pretty nice, but hold on a second. Amethyst Nuke with a chance to double off the backboard. Normally a pretty steady pair of hands when it comes to those sorts of shots, but he does get a bit too far in front of the play. So 6 goals is what GFC will have to be content with for now, but that was only a moment ago. It's 7 now. Minute 11 left, and J-Tron will get on the board again. And for the chef, I mean, up 7-0 right now, sitting at 150 points. You know, not the greatest stat line, but he's probably having the time of his life just watching Amethyst Nuke and J-Tron absolutely cook up front in the offensive zone. Because your Nuke goes again. Oh, this time setting up the chef. Could go double with this. No. Plays the selfless roll up ahead. Demoing the last defender. Giving J-Tron a shot opportunity, but doesn't pan out. With 40 seconds left now, I think we're in victory formation here at the end of Game 1. So I'll start working on the coffee that I brewed before it gets cold, because tonight I absolutely will need it. Oh, with the goals that we're scoring in Game 1 here, it's already getting the adrenaline pumping for me. Caffeine unnecessary. Look at that shot. The chef's been rather quiet on the goal-scoring front so far, but that is a proclamation here at the end of Game 1. Trying to match, it seems, the shooting totals of Game 1 2 weeks ago. We had 18 shots, right now at 16. And 10 goals 2 weeks ago. Right now at 9. But we do have to lock in for the long haul. It's not just one series this evening. 5 p.m. Central start, give or take a couple minutes. But we do have another series after this one. If you are joining us late, I'll show the bracket here in a moment after we get those post-game stats. As with 10 seconds left, the guys are aiming for that 10th goal, but Shizen won't allow it. We'll find a clear and looks to end this game. Going backboard, J-Tron finds a stop. GFC unwilling to let even one in. Despite some, okay, Mandan JV pressure sprinkled throughout that first game. It is still easy going for GFC. 0 shots conceded That's an improvement. Didn't hit the 10-goal mark, but didn't allow a single shot to Mandan JV. But as everyone does ready up, let's get that bracket up on screen. We do have an updated one that I will replace. Should be a live replacement. And there we go. Mandan JV winning in 5. Devil's Lake, a sweep of Harvey on the bottom side of the bracket. So good start here for sure. We got the red highlighted #1 overall seed, Grand Forks Central right there. Learn the name if you don't know it already. That's probably your favorite team to win the state championship now that they've gotten the head-to-head victory over Mandan. But with how close that series started, I don't think that you can fully count Mandan varsity out. And I'm sure that these guys know that there were probably 2 or 3 matchups they would have to play and win against Mandan varsity to make it to a state title. And that first one is really only the precursor to the next 2 important ones. The one we play tonight, or will likely play tonight, also a series that doesn't really have impact on who wins the state championship. The big one is going to be that final grand finals here in the Fenworks North Dakota state championship. The first 2 are kind of just setting the narrative up. So while they are important, well, the win last week is very much important. The one tonight, same deal, because it gets you the #1 seed at state. You have to stay locked in the entire time. Can't get complacent. And that has always been a description of GFC esports. Never complacent. Always looking to score that next goal. Make sure there is truly no way back for their opponents. Because if they're giving up goals like that... And with this nuke, making them pay right here. Look at that. Catches it on the undercarriage. Doesn't end up using the flip that he would have gained from catching it cleanly on the bottom side of his Fennec. Doesn't matter. Triple tap on the backboard of Mandan JV. Let's make it another. Already 2 for Nuke. Jumping off to a hot start in game 1. I think scored the first 5 for Grand Forks Central. Now let's see with the first 3. And if we've got Nuke activated up front tonight, then I know Mandan Varsity aren't listening right now because they're playing their series against Devil's Lake, but those guys better watch out. Oh, look at that! Amethyst Nuke off the ceiling with a perfect read on the chef's pass. He just dumps that off, and that is not an easy read to make. And with this Nuke, has to time his flip perfectly to make as strong a bit of contact as he did on the ball right there. And put it on target. That is so nice. And J-Tron's trying one as well. He almost hit that. Oh, man. Mechanically on point tonight are the Knights of GFC. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, these are blowout games that they're getting us excited during. Oh, man. I thought Amethyst Nuke was going to have the redirect there, but misses it. And J-Tron still scores on the next touch. All right, all right, all right. The guys came to play tonight. And the interviews that we get with them after every single series on stream, they have shown every indication that they are staying fully focused until they are hoisting that championship trophy. Doesn't matter their opponent, doesn't matter the situation, where they're playing. These guys are very much locked in and prepared for every series here on out. J-Tron as well. I know he's mentioned he has committed to the University of North Dakota next semester. I know we got parents in chat, so if Amethyst Nuke or the Chef have made decisions on whether or not they're going to be continuing their Rocket League playing career into the collegiate space. I would love to know that. I'm sure I'll get the chance to ask them at some point during this season, but for now, I want them fully focused on the high school side of competition. No looking ahead to next fall, because what matters is here and now. That's a freebie for the Chef there. Getting one on the board. 6-0 is what that'll make it. In Game 2 last week, for those keeping count, was a 7-1 in favor of GFC. They allowed 5 shots, actually, in that game. I'm not sure we're going to see that in this game, too. We spent 80% of this game in the blue end. This is even more dominant than what we saw last week. Or 2 weeks ago, rather. Some pressure here, though. Full Brizzle will break Mandan JV out of their back half and look for more to toe on that amethyst nuke shot, but it's Shizen up ahead, who was the, I think, brightest spot of the Mandan JV attack last 2 weeks ago. Man, we've been playing Mandan so many weeks consecutively now. When I say Mandan JV, or when I say we played them last week, you're going to have to know what I mean. Well, that's a setup. Freebie! Amethyst Nuke will put in his 4th. Just a donation right here by Shizen. You don't want to cross your own net with the ball like that, especially not with predators like the GFC Esports boys. Top of the food chain, these guys. Always lurking in the brush. Waiting to pounce. That is a miss, though. Amethyst Nuke giving up an open net. That won't be converted on the Chef. We'll track back in time. And now Amethyst Nuke can make up for his previous mistakes, setting up the Chef for a shot. That is good. 8-0. It seems like we're getting a relaxing first series tonight. But don't get too comfortable, because we all remember what happened last week. Thrilling 0-second goal to win Game 1 against Mandan Varsity. And that shows you that Mandan Varsity, despite the sweeping loss last week, will still be able to play this GFC team closely. But man, the guys do look just a little bit sharper tonight. And it's always hard to tell or to use a series like this as an indication of how they might play once the competition improves, especially when going back-to-back series against a lesser opponent and then an opponent closer to our skill level. It's hard to use that as an indication to know how the GFC guys will play. But they do look sharper against Mandan JV tonight than they did 2 weeks ago. And I think that bodes well. Because they're hitting shots, they're passing nicely, the backboard reads are on point, and defensively, I mean, they gave up that open net, but really, that's the only lapse in rotation that we've seen tonight. And even then, that wasn't even a goal concession. That was the Chef getting back in time to prevent the open net shot from going in. No, it was scary for a second. Well, look at this. J-Tron, the drop-down shot, set up Amethyst Nuke for nothing. And looks like the Chef committed as well. Cheesy Schaefer tried to stop Mandan JV from scoring that one. I don't know what happened there. Clearing full Brizzle out of the way. But Shizen in the area, making sure that that first goes in. Good on Mandan JV, punishing mistakes there. But all right, you can tell the guys think this game is out of reach, and I think for good reason. Everybody tossing themselves at the ball off the ceiling, and I'm giving up a second. No! J-Strom won't let that go in. Came streaking off the goal line, making sure there was no easy second score for Mandan JV. I love that. Pure spite. GFC Defending well when they are being tested. The lobby. Lying to us right there. This is game 2. Follow the overlay on your screen above. But 20 shots for Grand Forks Central to the 4 of Mandan JV. Cheesy Schaefer with 8 points. And yeah, I mean, this seems like a formality at this point. Once again, Mandan Varsity are the true test ahead of us. The chef is going to UND as well. Not sure about Nuke. Good info. Thank you, Wayne. I'm glad to see duos sticking together. That always brings a smile to my face. It's always a nice recruiting tool as well when it comes to directors and coaches at the collegiate level. Help bring that that high school chemistry up to the collegiate space. And I did get to see, actually, the UND team play for the first time last night. I hadn't gotten to experience them. And, I mean, with the skills that J-Tron and the Chef have, I could easily see them being starters within the next year or two, depending on what UND looks like next semester. Because they got a sharp one. Mogi looked phenomenal last night. They were playing an NECC match against Grand Canyon University. It happened on my personal Twitch channel. I know who did I see? I know Nuke was in chat supporting the UND guys. And one of the Chef and J-Tron I saw as well, which I thought was really cool. That they're supporting their local college team too. We need that. We need that in both the high school and collegiate space. But here we go. Let's lock back into the action on screen because we got an opener here. Took us 1 minute and 4 seconds. Not the fastest start, but it's all good. And with this Nuke, can continue a hot start at the very least. Look at him go! Dropping bombs on the blue nets. Amethyst Nuke from the skies. Demolishing Full Brizzle. Extra touch there on the end completely bamboozled him. Nuke's going to UND too? Oh, that's awesome. So this trio will get to stick together even longer. And I assume that they're all looking to play at the collegiate level too, right? Because I honestly can't say I've seen a situation in collegiate esports where 3 high school teammates all go to the same school and potentially all continue to play after this many years of competing with each other in high school. Oh, what is that pinch? The Chef using the ground just as well as Nuke's using the skies. Takes this ball all the way down, and Full Brizzle's trying to interfere with him. Trying to buy Shizen a little bit of extra time on the goal line, but it does not work out. The ideas are there, but GFC is just better. Nice chip from J-Tron as well, going backboard here, doubling center. No commitment for the next man up. And with this Nuke taking the sidewall, has the Chef mid, but takes the shot himself. Now J-Tron collecting on the goal line, messing with Shizen just a little bit. And Shizen looking to get something going for Mandan JV. But he's looking, and there is nothing there. Now with this Nuke now as the Chef, he's trying to get it to him. Shizen not having any of it. I do like how done it seems Shizen is with the antics of GFC Esports. Trying to defend on the goal line as much as he can. But he can only do so much. That's this Nuke pitching in for Mandan JV. An own save there. And the boys are going through the motions here. Now the Chef can try to use the skies, and oh! The crossbar has denied 2 spectacular opportunities for the Chef in this series. The ceiling shot earlier, Right there, sidewall dribble. Man. Woodwork on, not on the chef's side tonight. That's all right. He's getting other types of goals. This one just a simple midfield shot. Shizen out of position. And that will be exploited by GFC. And this honestly is the most lackluster closeout game that we've seen from the guys this year of streaming. I think they might be looking to get into that next match against Mandan, if I were to guess. Because normally they'd be putting up 10 or 11 goals in Game 3. But I think they're just trying to get this one over with. I don't think it's a lack of focus or anything like that. I think they just want the game to be over and done with. Get into the real competition. The real series that they need to win to really send a message to all of North Dakota here. This team is the favorite trio to win that Fenworks State Championship. Playing some keep away. Oh, just missed the bump there on Shizen. Would have really bought a lot of time instead, though. And then JV. Getting close to a goal here in Game 3, but at the end of the day, not looking like it will matter. I think for them, though, this means they will get the 3rd seed going into the state championship. Being that they were the higher seeded roster between them and Devil's Lake, who I assume will go out in semis too. But all eyes are on Mandan Varsity and Grand Forks Central. Undefeated, 7-0. 15 shots there, scoring 4 of them. And that's how we want to start it, honestly. Right there. It's how we want to start this night off. And while I've got the booth up, let me show that bracket one more time. Grand Forks Central moving on to the finals here. Winner of the next series gets the #1 seed at the state championship, happening on land at the University of North Dakota's facility. So a big opportunity for Grand Forks Central coming up in a bit. But for right now, let's get into the program shout-outs for the week. Didn't have time to do that at the beginning of the series, but that's all right. We got time between now and the next one. But more shout-outs for Super Smash Brothers as Alex Salyer took down Fargo Public Schools 3-1. Another win for the Smash team. Jaded Halverson doing the same thing. A sweep over the Grand Forks Central very own Antonio Flatum Reimers. And then Caleb Mackart gets a Game 5 victory over Richardson Taylor. 3 wins for the Super Smash Bros. Team at Grand Forks Central Esports. And Jaded and Alec right now, #2 and #3 in the standings going into state. So shout out Alex Salyer and Jaded Halverson. They have, I'm pretty sure, only notched wins when I've done these program shout outs. So makes sense there in the top 3. But had to shout them out before we get into that next Rocket League series. Should be against Mandan, but I will await confirmation before saying that. Maybe Devil's Lake goes on a crazy run. Upsets Harvey and Mandan back-to-back. That'd be something. We're preparing all this time for the Mandan varsity roster, who did play us the closest out of all the teams in this bracket. And then all of a sudden it's Devil's Lake in the finals. But I think I will throw it to a break, because I'm not sure when that next series is going to start. I think teams get an optional 15-minute break in between matchups. So I'll let me know when we're going into the next one. But in the meantime, enjoy the break screen, the synth wave, but make sure you are following at GFC_esports on X/Twitter, Instagram, and right here on Twitch. Best way to support your Grand Forks Central boys. But I'll be right back, and I'll see ya in, hopefully, not too long. And we're back. Not too long a break as Mandan Varsity took care of business against Devil's Lake 3-0, just like Grand Forks Central did to the Mandan JV team that we just watched on stream. So we get the rematch of last week's headliner, Mandan Varsity versus Grand Forks Central, two of the favorites to be hoisting that Fenworks North Dakota State Championship trophy at the end of this spring semester. And we are loading into the lobby now, so shouldn't be too much longer before we see GFC back in action against their big rivals here in the state of North Dakota. So I'm excited for this one. I think we all remember how that first game ended last week with a thrilling 0-second victory for the Knights of Grand Forks Central. But players are on the pitch. Let's see if we get a repeat, or if GFC can take more of a commanding victory, or if Mandan Varsity get themselves some revenge. Tabbing over now. Let's get this party started. Make sure you show your support all throughout this series, because if last week was the big one between these two teams, then this one is even bigger. The series now on the season developing between Mandan Varsity and Grand Forks Central. And we have switched colors on the pitch. Let me make the overlay reflect that. And already being tested in defense. Didn't have much of this against Mandan JV in the last series. So if we had seen Mandan Varsity getting a maybe closer series out of Devil's Lake, I would have probably had a point about a stronger warm-up, but I think both these two teams are in the same boat, kind of having their way with their opponent in semis. And now into the finals of this Fenworks Divisional tournament. They are on about as even footing as you can get. That's what we want. Amethyst Nukes playing for the block, but that whole setup is what invites J-Tron into the fray to get us started here. 1 minute is all GFC need to score on Mandan Varsity. It's like we never left the lobby last week. Amethyst Nuke in the skies. J-Tron lurking in the shadows right behind that play the whole time. Great read. And now J-Tron has to get involved again. This is the backboard read, but you got teammates. The chef will be in backup duty and almost gets a ground double to double the lead of GFC Esports, but won't quite go. And the chef just a little bit off with some of these really good looking opportunities tonight. It's unfortunate to see, but If the winds keep flowing in, I don't think it'll affect him too much. And with this nuke, though, very much been on in the now 3 games and change we've seen so far, but that's a fortunate bounce as the Chef let Jtron track back and try and block that open net, which looked like it would have been a free goal for Mandan Varsity had the woodwork not gotten involved, but okay. The Chef pinching that ball very much clear. Put a lot on that escape from defense. Well, we will need another. Jtron beaten 2 on the back line. Agento in the corner, setting up Sherrado for the answer out of Mandan Varsity. That's a good-looking ball out of the corner. The Chef on the near side, just a little bit off with the read. Same with Amethyst Nuke. And Jtron had no boost on the goal line to make the stop. It's a great play out of Mandan. And the Braves have their first of this series. So it won't be an easy test for Grand Forks Central. And we knew that coming in. Despite the sweep last week, I think we all knew this was still going to be a close one. And so goals like this are going to be very, very important. And with this nuke, splits 2 defenders, and the Chef does the same on the goal line. Great assist, great shot. That's quality from GFC's attack we expect out of them. Now with this nuke by himself, this is where he operates the best. Goes off the ceiling with the ball. And once more invites Jtron into the attack. Full man attack right there. The Chef nearly got a rebound opportunity to make it 3, but the defense of Mandan Varsity will prevail, keeping this a 1-goal game. That should be their goal here in Game 1. Keep it manageable, because I think GFC have come out looking like the better of the 2 teams, especially with the potency of their offense. So for Mandan Varsity, they can keep it close with good defense and capitalize on their counterattacks. And that is what they've done. Jtron, no double off the sidewall. Not flexing the mechanical brilliance right there. No, we know they can. We saw a lot of that against the JV team of Mandan. Amethyst Nuke's been beaten. Jtron has missed. It's a 1v1 essentially. No, make it a 2v1. And Jtron has to even up by coming out of the corner. Finding a touch out to the other side of the GFC Esports back half. Sherrado with the outlet pass to Agento, but the Chef is trying to make it difficult to clear. The play ends up working out in Mandan's favor. They put a ripper of a shot on target right there, but Knights ready for it. I'm glad to see that. That attack from Agento off the ceiling. Fortunately trying to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. But still, results in a clear for GFC. Now Agento was definitely not watching that last series. Mandan JV team tried that stunt, putting the ball across their own net. And it was punished every single time by Grand Forks Central. This time, just scary, but not a 3rd goal. Chef missing out on an opportunity there. Bit off with the shot. Action Jackson with a nice outlet pass to Agento, but Amethyst Nuke is ready to jump on that play. Important read at the midfield line as it wastes time, and most importantly, sets up the Chef for his 2nd goal of the game. That ensures the lead of GFC Esports, putting us up by a pair. And we may not need a spectacular 0-second goal to win Game 1 this time around. Trying to snatch the ball from Sherrado. 10 seconds left here. Mandan Varsity, they're playing defense when they need to be operating their attack. GFC Esports won't let Mandan out of that orange half, and they confirm 1 of 3 necessary wins to claim that first seed of the state championship. Though this certainly was a difficult back and forth, the stat sheet doesn't really reflect it. 11 shots to 3. Stats looking dominant for Grand Forks Central. But that was a 1-goal game until about 30 seconds left in game 1. So GFC need to make sure they stay online, they stay focused, and they stay in that orange end, because the attack of Mandan Varsity, once again, I think this was the case last week too, when they put up some decent scoring numbers. 3 goals on the GFC Esports defense. Has been pretty stout throughout this semester. It's going to be important to keep that attack of Mandan Varsity limited. So far, so good. That is a stop and a clear in tandem, and a pair of demos out of the Amethyst Nuke. Chef even putting the ball in harm's way for that Mandan Varsity defense. It sat on the goal line for a second, but no one was there to confirm an opening goal. Sherrado actually bumped off the ceiling. I don't know how on earth he got interfered with right there by the chef. That was really, really well done. Seems like bumps are the name of the game for GFC. It's gained them a lot of space. And that first shot. Heard the gong of failure, though, as the ball heads off the post and stays out. Rebound opportunity's no good as Sherrado finds a save. Tertiary chance is Nuke, and his shot leaves a little bit to be desired. Didn't quite have that read out of the corner. So, a scoreless first 90 seconds on the GFC end. So on the Mandan side, though, a different story. Sherrado in the skies taking that ball over and dunking 2 defenders in that blue box. Find another one right here. Action Jackson's been invited into the play. Centers there for Agento. And that'll be 2. Bit of a hole being dug at the moment. GFC Esports are sitting in the bottom of it. We'll see if they've got any rope handy. Plenty of time to sort out the situation. And certainly a strong enough attack to get the job done as well. We'll see what the decision-making process is. So far, seems as though they're keeping up their steady attack. Just trying to out 50 Mandan Varsity until they just give them an easy one. I mean, this was rough defending. Agento misses off the back wall. Sherrado's pre-flip's no good. And Action Jackson is nowhere to be seen in that play. So, a donation there. Mandan Varsity allowing GFC Esports back into this game with a relative degree of ease. And I think we all know you don't need to give freebies away to Grand Forks Central. They can earn the 2 that they need to come back right here. Doing that now. Datron starts with his back to the play and still manages to set up the chef for a shot, but chef still not quite fully online. But Amethyst Nuke is okay. Nuke has stepped up and carried the ball cleanly into the back of the orange net. I have to get the referee involved, making sure there are no illegal sticky substances on his front bumper, because that ball sat right in front of his car. 2-2. Amethyst Nuke starting to really step up. And that's a scary sight for Mandan fans. Agento looking for retaliation, but Amethyst Nuke in defense, just as good in offense. Now the chef off the ceiling will just try to separate the Mandan Varsity players from proper positions. Pot shot on net. And it doesn't listen to double commit. So that'll waste boost and could be impactful later on if Action Jackson doesn't find a clear. And with this nuke though, to kickstart another counterattack, and this is a good looking opportunity that the chef will convert on. That's 2 now. And the Chef, with those pair of goals, or with that pair of goals, rather, has put GFC Esports in front. All right now, Grand Forks Central showing comeback potential. So deficits won't be too big of an issue as they came back from a 2-goal deficit in this one. Last game, they found leads that they defended well, so they're playing well out in front. So Mandan Varsity, how do you beat this GFC team? Keeping control of the midfield line, I think, is significant for Mandan, because the defensive rotations aren't always extremely clean. There are gaps on the back line of GFC. It's just a matter of whether or not Mandan are able to capitalize on those gaps. They've got the boost to play the ball into space and then follow up. Action Jackson's got boost right now, but off the ceiling is contested immediately. And so it's forced off the ball. Agento given a chance to shoot, but only a half chance. The near side defense is strong. And with this nuke on the near side, finds a stop. And now, Mandan have double committed once again, this time in offense, but Atron didn't have the boost to punish that mistake. And at the moment, the Knights trying to hold on in defense. Jatron finds an important stuff because the boost is limited on that Mandan side. Everyone's streaking back to make sure they don't give up a fourth, while also having to think about the equalizer that they need to keep this game 2 going. A game 2 that they led by 2 at one point. They jumped out to the early lead, but it's GFC that seemed to have found the last laugh. Ball will stay up with Agento clearing it long, deep into that GFC end. But it meets strong resistance, and it meets a GFC clear and grounding of the ball. Game 2 goes the Knights' way, and we just need one more before confirming that that #1 seed going into the state championship will be ours. 8 shots to 6. And once again, a fairly one-sided offensive performance on the GFC end. At least when it came to total productivity. Field domination ending 55-45, the split in favor of Grand Forks Central. So playing just over half of that game in the offensive zone, which is better for Mandan, which I think we saw reflected in the scoreboard there. But what matters now is game 3. Mandan, we trying to hang on with every ounce of strength that they've got. And for GFC, about making sure that no matter the strength of this Mandan team, it's still not enough to down them in a best of 5. Let's see how Mandan upgrade going into game 3, because for them, it's do or die. Their backs are against the wall, and already they're whiffing in defense. You can't afford mistakes like that against GFC. They are quick to punish. Jatron almost did it himself, but it's Amethyst Nuke at the end of the play with that final touch. And Grand Forks Central are already demonstrating that they know how to close out on this Mandan team. They did it last week 4-0. And they've scored the first goal here in game 3 earlier than any other goal that we've seen in this series thus far. Tron's got boost, but on the back side of that double. Instead, it's Amethyst Nuke, who with Jatron has really been a big instrument of attack in this series. And the Chef hanging back, being a disruptor, trying to demo Agento right there, trying to facilitate in the offensive zone as well, and when required, just playing the infield nicely, waiting for a shot opportunity to develop. They're making his presence known on the goal line. And with this nuke next up, that's great speed off the near side post. Leads to a clear as he finds a gap between two orange cars. And then is faked out by Agento. It leads to a quick counterattack on the Mandan side, but J-Tron fields the ball at the end of it and will push back mightily. Chef next up in rotation. Found a stop at the midfield line, but next man was beaten. It's a good back and forth developing. With a lead in hand, this benefits GFC. It wastes time and applies pressure to the shoulders of Mandan Varsity. Because with every passing second, Mandan will see their second strike developing. 3 losses to GFC, and you're out of contention in the state championship more than likely. This could be strike 2 the way things are going, but Mandan will have an answer at least to the first goal scored here in Game 3. Eventually, they find a big enough opening in transition to offense to score and level us up. Sherrata's going to have full access to this ball, and he has been quite good on it. Will fake through the first one, chip past the second, but is slow to contest the third. And J-Tron, how about that speed? We got the flash cutting through the midfield here. The Chef 50s the ball center. I thought that was Action Jackson's ball every day of the week, but J-Tron cuts in quick and snatches that GFC lead right back. Now he wants more. J-Tron's hungry, and he is feasting. Mandan setting up the dinner table, and J-Tron has sat himself at it. Flip reset to get through 2 defenders, and Grand Forks Central have a serious attack that no defense has found an answer for tonight. Really, this season. They've yet to have a game outside of one against Harvey High where they score fewer than 3 goals. And it's kind of crazy that Harvey is the team, the only team, that's limited Grand Forks Central to 2 scores. That's Rocket League for you. Unexpected things happen at unexpected times. You got to be ready to improvise. At one point, this GFC team was down by 2 goals in Game 2. They find a way to storm back and win it in regulation. Here, this game was tied at one point, but we are very far away from that now. 1:16 left, and J-Tron and the Chef are dinking dunking in your corner, Mandan. What are you going to do about it? So far, the answer is nothing. The 5th one falls in. J-Tron's got a hat trick. And I think once again, we go from 2 very competitive first games in the GFC Mandan Classic to a blowout Game 3 where Grand Forks Central can run around the pitch doing whatever they like because their multi-goal lead is very much safe. And it looks like, to all of my GFC faithful in chat right now, we'll be getting a chance to speak with 1 or 2 or maybe all of the Grand Forks Central Rocket League boys after this series. They've always been down for an interview, and I would love to know their thoughts coming out of their first taste of bracket play this semester, going into what I'm sure will still be a very heated state championship tournament later on down the line. One more for the road. The Chef looking for a crossbar read, but once again, he's stuffed. His biggest enemy really hasn't been the players on the pitch tonight. It's been the crossbar and the posts. I don't know what vendetta they've got against the chef, but he's the only one on GFC that really struggled to convert tonight. Jtron and Amethyst Nuke were really on point all throughout the series. And that's GG's. Everyone had their moments. Everyone contributed. And Grand Forks Central will beat Mandan Varsity and Mandan JV 2 weeks in a row to get themselves that #1 seed going into the state championship. I don't know if I'm going to get an updated bracket, but we'll show the one that we had coming into it. And you can just imagine Grand Forks Central spilling in to the right side of your screen. It's a long name. It's been a long grind to get here. But they are the top team going into the state championship. And we'll see if we get an interview at the end of this one. It has been a longer night than usual, but that didn't matter for the GFC guys. They came ready to play. And once again, the result is the same. Proving that last week was no fluke. Mandan were the favorites coming into this semester. They were the 3-time state champions consecutively. But now it's GFC's time. And they're looking to make the most of it. Looking to cap off their high school careers with a state championship. And I think we're going to be getting an interview with Luke himself. The chef will be popping into the booth with me here in a moment. But he did ask for a second to get ready. I'm sure Justin, their coach, is talking through some final things before the chef pops into the winner's interview with us. So we'll hang out for a second. But another great night of GFC Rocket League. They've yet to drop a game at all this year. 3-0 against Harvey. 3-0 against Fargo. 3-0 against Mandan JV. Mandan Varsity 3-0. Mandan JV again, we sweep them tonight. Mandan Varsity, we basically repeat last week's result. A win by 4 or 5 in Game 3. Couple of tight affairs in Games 1 and 2. And GFC, they are showing consistency. And I think going into the state tournament, that's what you need. It's at a facility they've already played at. They should be comfortable there. Everyone will be feeling nerves on LAN. But even then, these guys, I think, have shown an ability to, with their experience at previous LANs and in previous high-profile matchups, to deal with nerves well. And so I'm expecting big things from these guys. They've shown us big things already. But for now, we have to be happy with seed #1. They still have to perform at the state championship. And I can't wait to see them do it. I don't know what the streaming situation is going to be like at the state championship there. I would figure Fenworks is handling things. But I'm excited to tune in. And looks like we got the chef about to pop in here. So I'm going to invite him to the call. And we've got the chef in the booth with us. My man, Luke, how you feeling after another win over Mandan?
I'm feeling good. I mean, we definitely played well. Vibes are high, so I'm happy about it.
Was there more confidence among the team this week after 3-0ing Mandan last week? Because I figure the idea was Mandan JV was kind of the warm-up going into the finals here to nab that #1 seed. But I'm sure you were expecting to play Mandan, and were you more confident this time around after last week's result?
Well, I think definitely the team was more confident, but honestly, I didn't feel like I was playing that well today, so I was a little bit nervous going into it, but we ended up playing well as a team, so that's all that matters for sure. But in that Mandan JV series, I'm sure you saw it, I was missing the ball a bunch, but ended up working out fine.
Yeah, I mean, you were a little bit off tonight. That's why you got teammates that have your back, like Nuke and Jtron do, because they were shooting lights out in both series, and you were facilitating well. You found some important blocks, and I'm curious, as a player, when you're having an off night, is it your teammates that kind of pick you up, or are you the one that's doing it in your head?
I mean, it's honestly hard to say. It's hard to say how well or bad I played, but I didn't feel great. But when I'm having like a kind of an off night, I guess I just try and not do too much and just hit the ball and let my teammates maybe pick up some slack. But there wasn't really, didn't seem like it was much slack to pick up, but they definitely did well.
Yeah, all three of you still had very good evenings. I mean, you're taking down Mandan once more, and you probably have to do it a third time at the state championship in order to win on LAN. And I'm wondering how comfortable you guys are feeling going into the state championship LAN, considering it's at UND, where you've already notched a couple of wins this semester during regular season play.
Yep, definitely confident, always confident. I mean, I think we're playing pretty well as a team, obviously trying to get better all the time. Mandan's going to be trying to get better before state too, so I'm sure it probably won't be easy, but just going to keep practicing and do our best. That's all we can do, and I think so far it's been working out well this season.
What's the practice schedule going to look like in preparation for LAN? Because I know you guys were focusing on Mandan last week. I'm sure focusing on them again this week. But with LAN coming on down the line, what do you guys are you planning to ramp up a little bit? Some extra scrims, extra reviews, or just kind of keep it consistent?
Yeah, definitely a few extra scrims. Always looking for that. I think maybe 2-3 scrims a week if we can.
Okay.
We can get that going. We'll be practicing at UND with our coach, hopefully 2 times a week leading up to this. So yeah, definitely ramping up a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll be ready. I'm hoping we can get some good improvement over these next few weeks and going into the state tournament and get the win.
All right. Well, hopefully that is the case. You guys look so good so far. I'm looking forward to watching that state championship. Do you have the details of the state championship on your head at the moment that you can say to stream?
Yeah, we'll play on Saturday, February 28th. It'll be University of North Dakota Student Union from about 10 a.m. and then the finals are scheduled for about 6 p.m. assuming we make it. So the schedule is always a little bit tentative, so we'll probably have more updates on our social media about exact times on that day. But yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good. Well, 23 days between now and hopefully the day you guys hoist that state championship trophy. Always good to talk to you, Chef. Have a good one, man.
You too. Thank you.
All right, everyone. That does bring us to the end of the team streams. Really, the next time we'll see the boys in action is at the state championship at the UND Student Union, as Luke just told us. So if you're in town, in or around Grand Forks, or willing to travel, then definitely go support them in person. Because watching in Twitch chat, next best thing. I'll be right there with you. But if you're able to go in person, these LANs are always a fantastic experience, and they're even better when there's a crowd watching and cheering teams along. I can definitely vouch. I've been to my fair share of collegiate and high school LANs on a local level, regional level, and national level. So go support Scholastic Esports in person. It's the best way to do it. But for now, thank you, all of you, again, for all the support this semester on the GFC team stream. It's really been an honor to be casting these guys in their final pursuit of a high school championship trophy before they move off to the collegiate scene in pursuit of championships and wins there, representing UND as well, all three of them, which I've learned tonight, which is so cool. But I don't know if I'm going to be making the trip up there. I live down in Alabama, so it's a little bit of a hike for me to get up to Grand Forks. But I'll be there in spirit, everyone, cheering GFC on. So you'll have to cheer a little bit louder for me in the facility. But really, thank you all for the kind words. Shout out GFC for making this happen. It's not often that a high school team will look to bring a caster in like this, but I've really had fun spending my Thursday evenings with all of you talking over the Rocket League that these guys are putting on display, and they didn't drop a game at all for me, so I feel honored. But for now, it's my final sign-off for the Grand Forks Central Rocket League team stream. So, everyone, stay safe out there and enjoy the LAN coming up February 28th. Let's go GFC. Let's hope they win that trophy. I'll see ya.